You're listening to the One Step Deeper podcast with your host, Jimmy Moore and Brittany Davis. OneStepDeeperPodcast.com.
Don't sound so enthusiastic.
I am so happy and excited for the podcast, but
Yeah.
it's pain.
Yes.
And I'm working through it, and I didn't have great sleep last night, fault of my own, and so we'll celebrate the fun that I had. But yes.
Hey, sometimes it's good to have fellowship with other people because we need that, especially in this day and age of all the hell that has been the last year or so. So, no, I don't fault you for that, but you do have to pay the piper when you do that. So,
Absolutely. But I have learned that I can do what I want to in this life, and if I want to stay up till 2 a.m. and hang out with my friends, I can do that because I don't have to live my life for anybody but me.
no, you live it for you and you live it authentically for you. And that's the way it's supposed to be. But not many people actually live their life that way, do they?
Oh no, and I was one of those people.
Same. I'm over it. So now I live my life for Jimmy, and Jimmy likes being in control.
Yes.
So guys, if you haven't noticed, that's what we're going to talk about here today on One Step Deeper. You are listening to the One Step Deeper podcast. That's Brittany Davis, the ailing, the sleepy Brittany Davis. And I'm Jimmy Moore. We are actually simulcasting right now live on Clubhouse. So if you want to catch us when we actually record this episode in real time, exclusively over on the Clubhouse app, if you're new to kind of what that is, it's for iPhones only and it's by invitation only. So, that's the limitation right now. And I know you, Brittany, want to be on there, but you don't have an iPhone.
Yes, I want to be on so bad. I'm like, come on, Clubhouse, open up the Android, please.
Yeah, so if we can get you an iPhone, maybe you and I do some sessions over there. That'd be a lot of fun. And I'm over at the Keto for the Soul Clubhouse room. So thank you guys for being here. All the wonderful people, probably about 30 people on here right now. So awesome. Thank you guys for being here. So One Step Deeper Podcast.com is the website. You want to go check us out. We debut these episodes over on YouTube. So thanks to all of our YouTube viewers watching us live on the premiere at 4 p.m. Eastern time every single Sunday. We're also obviously a podcast. So we're on all the usual suspects, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Alexa. Just go and check that out on about midday Eastern time on Mondays is when that goes up. But you can connect with me and Brittany as well. We have an Instagram page, One Step Deeper Podcast. So go check it out over there. We also have One Step Deeper Podcast Community over on Facebook. And of course, Brittany and I both have our personal pages. Please reach out to us anytime. Both of us are extremely accessible. We love connecting with people. You can't call yourself One Step Deeper, Brittany, if you don't care about people. And we obviously both do.
Yes.
So today is episode 14, and it's pretty much stop living your life for what other people want and start living your life. Like, why are people so quick to abdicate their own life to the whims of others? And you and I both have experience with that, doing that. Why don't you tell a little bit of your story about kind of why you felt you did that and how you broke free?
So this is definitely a pattern that starts in childhood, and it definitely started in childhood for me. And there's this way of parenting that gives off the impression that you can't trust yourself, that your decisions are not good enough, and that whatever you decide to do is just going to be wrong because you're a kid and you don't know anything. And that's why there's honestly a lot of contention in that adolescent age, because they're like, wait a minute, I know everything. But there's the disconnect. Maybe if we gave more choices as young children and let them facilitate choices, then they'll be like, I'm living my life, and parents have to let go of that. Okay, that's a different. But as far as like living your life for yourself, we're so used to the constant feedback that we get from the people around us that we just kind of default to them and think, well, I'm going to fit in the box that they have for me because maybe they'll love me and accept me then.
There's comfortability there. You go along to get along. Like, that's literally a phrase born out of people abdicating their own responsibility for themselves and what they think.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I just wrote a post about that comfortable mindset that you hear all the time of, this is just the way I am, this is the way I was, how I've always been. Well, they've always been this way because they abdicated that throne that they have within themselves to actually live their life for them. And they've lived their life the whole time for somebody else. And they don't even know that they're doing it. They don't even consciously realize. So my story is really tied up in my parents, and I have lots of little stories along the way. But the biggest one was I was engaged to my husband while I was in high school. And my father was very clear with, you're going to go to college. I made great grades. Probably could have done well in college. I didn't want to go. For me, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go do cosmetology. And Lord knows I didn't know I'd be where I am right now. But I wanted to do cosmetology. But my dad's influence was so strong. Oh, you make good grades. You have to go to college. You must do this. And so I lived my life in the box that he put. And I went to college. And guess what? 18 months in, I had spent thousands of dollars. And I didn't finish because I didn't want to do it for me. And pattern after pattern after pattern. My dad loves to point out, not just my dad, that I quit things, that I'm bad at starting something and not finishing it.
Yeah.
Well, it's because I get in there and I'm like, who am I actually doing this for? Am I doing this for me or am I doing this for somebody else?
That is a question to ask yourself about any decision that you make. Who am I doing this for? Because if we really dig into that, then you kind of get to the heart of, this is my belief, this is what I want, or, oh, this is what dad wants, or this is what somebody else wants. And that'll convict you if you stop yourself before you make a decision. Why am I doing this? Who am I actually doing it for? Is this what I really believe in my heart?
Absolutely. And so I don't fault my dad because I know he was doing what he thought was best. He was pushing me to do something that nobody else in our family has done. Nobody else in our family has gone and finished college. And so I know that was, was something that he wanted for our family, and specifically me. He thought, I was the one. I made the good grades. I should do it, right? And it does make sense on the outside view, but it's not what I wanted for myself. Even if I was good at school or it's not what I wanted. And I defaulted even to, I was like, I don't even know what I want to do. Business management? Okay. And I learned from it, and I definitely take those experiences that I learned and move through it. But again, I got 18 months in and I'm just like, why am I here? What am I doing? This is miserable. I hate this.
And you're so right, by the way, that it starts in childhood. So many of the tendencies to believe others, and I think a lot of it has to do with heavily authoritative people in our lives. I know you had those kinds of people in your life. I've talked very openly about my dad being extremely authoritative to the point of abuse, physically and emotionally. That will break you down and make you, okay, sir, whatever you want, sir. And it's like anything to stop the abuse from happening. And so that's where I learned mine. And then you start applying it to other relationships. And like we've talked about many times on this show, once you kind of establish a pattern, it's the norm. Like, we don't know any different than what we learned. And so I learned, man scream at me, man demean me, man beat me. I believe man, I think everything he thinks. So why wouldn't I transfer that to other relationships in my life?
Yes. I love when that lens is just popped off and you can actually see what the hell is going on around you. I love watching people just realize that. And of course, when we had all the people over here, and all the people, it was 3 people. When we had the people over here last night, of course, Brittany could not help but therapy. I couldn't help. How is your life and how are you really doing? And don't give me the, I'm okay. No, give me the real stuff. And we
know that they know that's what you do by now. By now, surely.
Well, a few of them, but some of them had never met me before, and so it was brand new.
Surprise!
They asked me what I did, so you stay home with the kids? I was like, kind of, I do, but Nah, Brittany's into personal development. You don't even know what you just walked into. But we got to talking about this same thing last night, this idea that people live their life for other people, so much so that when that, and it's so bad, they get so caught up in living their life within the box of other people that when that box is taken away, they don't know who they are. They have no idea who they are because they've lived their life for somebody else for so long. They molded themselves into this box that when the box is gone and maybe that person is gone, they don't know who they are.
And they convince themselves, it's going to be really deep, guys, so stick with me. They convince themselves that the belief of other people that they have now co-opted as their own was their own all along.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I know later.
Really kind of have to pull off the Band-Aid like hard and just look at that gaping wound and go, why did I allow that to happen? Like, I love doing metaphors because it like lets you visualize. So rip off that Band-Aid and you're looking at that wound and going, wow, like I thought I was doing pretty good. And I actually have a brokenness there. And the brokenness is allowing these deep, dark thoughts of other people to infiltrate our own psyche. And like this shows up in all kinds of areas of our life. It shows up in why we get fat, for example. That's one thing. It shows up in decisions that you make about who you choose for partners in your life. It shows up in your value that you see in yourself and in your work, in your job, and what you do. Like literally every aspect of life is impacted by the lack of grabbing back the reins of your own life and beliefs and thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that, because I know this as an enlightened adult, I don't know if that's the correct verbiage there, but I've been able to see this in myself. I want to break that cycle with my kids. Like I let them decide within a bounds. Like I think as parents, and we can even do this with ourselves when we reparent ourselves. That was a couple episodes ago, last episode. Last week, we did reparenting ourselves. When we start that process, we can be easier on ourselves and say, okay, I'm going to choose something, but within this realm, we're going to stay a little bit in this box within this realm before we start pulling out of that. But that's what I do with my kids. Just a simple thing is, hey, what do you guys want for dinner? I have these 7 dinners. Which one would you like? And it gives a tiny choice, but within a bounds. And we can do that with ourselves of, okay, I have to work, but maybe I don't have to work here. Maybe I don't have to work in this place. Maybe I could work here and work a side job until I can make enough money to quit this job that I hate so much. You know, like there can be within a bounds of, I have to quit living my life for everybody else around me. I have to live my life for me. Let's start small and step out of the box a little bit more until you're actually free. And it is the most amazing feeling, guys. I have done this most recently of just every single box. I did it probably a way that I wouldn't suggest. I threw all the boxes away. I was like, screw you and all your boxes. I'm done. I am done with your boxes. Threw them all out. And then I'm just sitting on the open going, what do I do first? What do I tackle first?
And I think that's where people get hung up on trying to grab back the reins. If they recognize they're living their life for other people and the beliefs of other people that have been infused into them through words and actions, they don't want to know what they're about to find out. Like I think there's such a fear of kind of living authentically in your own self. I know we did a whole episode many weeks ago, Be the Real You, and it's the same kind of concept of people don't really want to be the real them always. That sounds so weird because you would think, oh yeah, I do. I'm me. And then like you stop and evaluate every aspect of your life, everything that you believe. Is it what you believe? Is it what you want to do? Your example with the college thing, you were pushed to that and you never wanted to do that. And so like that's a prime example. And those kinds of things happen over and over and over again throughout all of life.
It's because it's easy to follow a leader because you can default to the leader. Oh, I'm wrong? No, they're wrong because they told me I'm wrong. And so it's a lot easier to just follow suit of somebody who told you to be a certain way, think a certain way. And I can't help but I think of religion within this, that people just sit under one person and don't follow through in their own. They're just like, well, so and so said this, and so I believe it. I did that. Like within my, faith, I just succumbed to what other people told me. And when I actually stepped out of those boxes and I was like, well, where did that come from? And the truth is, it came from this person and this person and this person and this person. And there was no validity there. It was just passed down through all these years. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have been living my life for this person, like way over there, because they started this idea and it's not real, and it's scary. Man, I know you've gone through the same thing. It is so scary to get there and you're like, what have I been doing my whole life? This is terrible. But you just accept where you are, like, okay, well, I'm going to take that as a fact, a very shocking fact that I've lived my life for somebody else. And what do I feel about this? What do I feel about this situation or this topic?
Yeah, on the subject of religion, we'll do a whole episode on that. We still got a couple months away. Stay tuned, guys, but we're going to hit that one really hard. But we saw this last year in the political realm, where people kind of dug in their heels and you asked them what they believe, on both sides, by the way. You ask them what they believe and they say it, and then you go, why do you believe that? Where did that come from? Did you have an experience with that? I was told that, you were told. Oh, so you're letting someone else's thoughts become your thoughts. Interesting.
Yeah, because it's so easy to just follow the leader. So whatever the leader believes, oh, I must believe that too. It's easy to kind of fall under somebody else's wing. It's really hard to know yourself and to think of all of these things that we're bombarded with every day. All of these decisions that we must make every day as human beings. It's easier to let somebody else make the decision. Like in my life, it's like dinner. Like, okay, come on now, in couples and, what you want for dinner? I don't care. What do you want? I don't care. What do you want? You hear that all the time because it's like, I don't want to make the decision because I don't want to be wrong. And so if somebody else is wrong, it's not a big deal, but I don't want to be wrong.
I think when you're so used to letting go of your own belief system and your own way of thinking, it becomes so habitual to believe other people that when you try to break free from that and speak up and have your voice be heard, I think a lot of times people feel that discomfort that comes with that, because it becomes, wait a minute, this isn't normal. Wait a minute, I can't speak up. I've never spoken up before. I've never wanted to do what I wanted to do. I've always done it for X, a spouse, a parent, a child. Oh, I want you to address that one here in a second. But so many areas of our life, we do that. We just give it up. And so we don't want that discomfort. So they'd rather follow the leader rather than be the leader of their own life.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm just like, my brain is reeling with all the people in my life that I can see. They're just following the leader and they're not living their life. They think that they are. I think that's where this topic is so tricky, because people don't realize that they're doing this. When they say things or act a certain way, I can see through it and you got that from this person, or, oh, you believe this because of this. That's why it's so hard to be who I am. I'm going to be honest with you, because I don't fall in any place. Religion, any of the norm, not me. When it comes to politics, not me. I don't fit anywhere, and I stopped trying to. We have to stop trying to fit in somewhere. I don't care if I don't fit in. Jimmy, I love you. You my best friend, but I'm going to believe what I'm going to believe, even if you don't believe like me. I'm going to believe what I believe.
I was going to say, I want you to. That's the beauty of acknowledging that people have different beliefs. You don't have to believe the same thing because you don't believe something. I believe that somehow makes you less than as a friend. What kind of messed up world are we living in if that's reality?
Yeah, absolutely. And it just goes back to who the people that you're around, the people that you grow up with, the people that you're around, they influence you so heavily. And so you have to be careful with who you let around yourself. But at the same time, I push back on that thought. because I'm so comfortable in who I am and what I believe that no outside influence can change who I am and what I believe. And so I do open myself up to many, many people that don't think like me or talk like me. Last night we had the Hispanic guys that my husband works with, and it was just so fascinating for me to listen to their culture and to listen to where they come from and their real life hard story of how they have worked their butt off to get where they are today. And I love soaking that up, because I love to hear other people's experience, because I'm so comfortable in myself and what I believe. I can open myself up to other people's experiences, because I don't live my life for anybody else but me.
I've heard that's an interesting theme that we should cover on a podcast sometimes. Oh, wait, we are. So, guys, if you're over on Clubhouse and you're resonating with anything we're sharing here, please go ahead and raise your hand. We'll bring you guys in here in just a minute to kind of continue the conversation. Would love to get your input about what we're talking about. And if you joined late, we are talking about living your life for you. You're listening to the One Step Deeper podcast. We're doing a live simulcast over on the Clubhouse room, Keto for the Soul. Thank you guys for being here. But yeah, literally this is a subject that once you become aware of it, and my awakening only recently happened within the last couple of years, when you like start to pull the scales away from your eyes and you see clearly, you don't want that anymore. You want to live such an authentic, real life that if you can't be real, you don't want to live. Like, it's, I'm not trying to say you want to kill yourself, but it's almost impossible that once you have your eyes open to this and you see the reality of it, that you don't make some kind of a change radically. Like, I can tell you, I've had people in my life tell me, you've changed. And I always go, thank you. I sure have. And gladly so. Like, if we don't constantly evolve ourselves and get better and expect better and do better for ourselves, how do we ever expect to grow in this world?
Yes. I believe that every human being on the planet, every human being has the responsibility within themselves to grow. Don't just be comfortable with saying things like, oh, it's just the way I am. Ew. I don't like that statement of, this is just the way I am, or, oh, it's just always done it this way, or I turned out just fine. All of those just, they make me cringe. They make me cringe so much, because I'm like, learn, grow, develop where you are, see where you are, develop outside of those boxes. And also, I want to turn this whole live your life for you, I want to turn it around. Stop making people fit in your boxes. Quit pushing boxes on people. Quit making them live their life for you. Ew.
Yeah, that's true. I wasn't even thinking about that aspect of things, but there are people, they're evil, maniacal, psychological warfare, narcissistic gaslighters galore. And you know who you are. I'm staring you in the face right now. Don't do that. Like, so many of us had to live under those kinds of people growing up. My dad, huge narcissist, asshole. Who beats their kids? Like, what the hell, dude? And you got sexually abused at 12. What man would do that to a 12-year-old? Come on. It's these kinds of things, they shape you. And it takes a while to break free. You had to deal with your trauma before you could be this authentic you and stop believing what other people told you to believe.
Exactly. And I mean, we could break the trauma down into the actual events that happen, or we could really just describe it as, I was put in a box in all of these different places as a kid. Be this way, live your life this way, talk this way, act this way, only be around these people, only let yourself around. Oh my gosh, it was never ending. And well into my 20s, like, never ending. And I'm so thankful for people like you in my life and people like my husband, because I swear to you, they never pushed boxes in my way. They were just so interested in getting to know who I was. Even when I was still getting to know who I was. I still don't know who I am. Like, I'm confident in what I believe, but I don't think we ever get to a place where we're like, I know who I am, because we're always evolving. It's not a stop point. It's not something like, okay, I have arrived. It's not like that. You keep growing, you keep learning, you change the book. When you're a child, you're on encyclopedia. I'm gonna show my age because I don't think those are around anymore. You're on
online encyclopedia.
Yeah, yes. No, I had the set. I had the books. The encyclopedia.
Got the Britannica, the Encyclopedia Britannica. Yes, that used to be our Google for all of you Gen Z and millennials that are young enough.
Like we're on volume 1 when we're a child, and then when we get to our adulthood, we should be on volume 20. But some people are still stuck on volume 5, 6, 7 because they can't get out of that because they're so stuck in that box of living right there.
Yeah, we could have easily called this episode "Unbox Yourself." Because that's what it is, unboxing all of these things that were planted in our head. But we do know from some of the studies in psychology that once something enters your brain, even if it's false, even if it's not what you really believe, people automatically, immediately, Brittany, believe it. Like I literally did rants on this last year where I talked about, like I said, in psychology, you think, okay, you hear an idea, you vet it out, and then you decide whether you believe it or not. That's not true at all. This is why, like health headlines, people will see red meat causes cancer and will make you die. And people go, oh no, red meat's going to cause cancer and make me die. And I go, how do you know that's true? They just believed it. And this happens in the real world. People say things, you hear it, and it automatically becomes their belief system when it's not their belief system at all.
Oh man! Oh, the stories that I have.
Yeah,
I'll cover some of those. I gotta keep some of those in. Oh gosh, I cannot stand to scroll Facebook. Like I hate it. I have a demographic on Instagram and then a different demographic on Facebook. Yeah. My Facebook stays pretty personal, and it's just the personal relationships with people that I know in real life. And so most of it are family members and in the older generation that I know, like family. And so they find these headlines. They never open the article and they repost the headline. Yeah. And I'm just like, please stop doing that. Like just look a little bit more. I would never get the day I open, and I wish I could remember what the headline was, but it was some eye-catching headline.
Yeah.
I clicked on it because I'm a clicker. I want to know more. Like, oh, okay, that's a headline. Let me see what it actually is about. And I clicked on it, and it literally was a giant page that said, "This is satire." And I'm like,
yeah.
And people in the comments, like, straight believing what the headline said. And I'm like,
Babylon.
Can we uncover some deeper there?
Yeah, was it Babylon B, one of those? Yeah,
I don't know, probably.
They make such, they're a satire of the new website. But that's a fine example of having other people influence you. Somebody, even when they say this is a satirical page and not meant to be real news, people still believe.
For years. I mean, we can talk about diet advice, we can talk about all these things for years. This one little thing escalates into this huge thought process, this huge generational thing. And I think this whole idea of live your life for yourself, I mean, like we've had generation just bringing these boxes, and we're just like, okay, well, they did it this way, so I have to do it this way, or they lived here, so I had to live here. Like that was one of mine. Like literally, we joked around where I lived in Wagner and called it Holmanville because it was my family. It was me, my mom, my uncle, my grandma, my great aunt, my other great aunt, my cousin. Like the whole road was nothing but my family.
Yeah.
And I was just expected to live there, and I did. And I looked around and I was like, do I really want to live here? Or am I doing it because everybody else is doing it? And when I was like, no, I really don't want to live here. I really would like to be closer to town. It took me realizing on my own, I don't have to live my life for anybody else to make them happy. And I'm sad. Like I miss my grandparents, but they push back on this idea a lot of, oh, you can't move. That's so far away. I'm 30 minutes away. This idea, and so I was like, I had to break out of that box to stop fitting into what they wanted, and I had to live my life for me.
Yeah, and it's so liberating finally do that. Like, I've made some choices in my life over this past 2 years that was for me, because I realized I was in this trap of living my life at the whims of other people. And when you realize you're doing that, you get this regret in your heart. You get this, oh my God, what have I done? And see, you're in your 20s. I'm in my late 40s before I figured this out. So kudos to finding it and realizing it. Yes, you're still working through some of the things. We have deep conversations off the air all the time, you and I, about the things you're going through, but like, you're way ahead of the schedule with most people. Some people that go their whole lives living their lives for other people, and they don't even know it.
Sad but true. Sad but true. And it's really hard for us enlightened people to look around and just like, I want to help you, let me help you, but they're just not ready.
They have to be ready. They have to be the ones that want to be helped and have their eyes open. It's sad. Yeah. I want to bring in the clubhouse, because we do have a couple of people that want to say something, and this could be very educational. So hello, Clubhouse, Keto for the Soul. Thank you for being here on the live simulcast of One Step Deeper podcast. So I'm going to bring in, looks like Dax is first. What you got for me, bud?
Yes, good morning, Jimmy. How are you today?
Hey.
Good to be here. I just wanted to say, relative to what you've been talking about, I feel there's 5 points of pressure in our life that are meaningful and critical for us. I believe you've spoken about a few of them: religion, politics even more so these days, because things are getting more and more volatile in that area. But and then you've got politics, you've got religion, you've got culture, whatever culture that you live in, we're brought up in, family, and peer pressure.
Yes.
I think those 5 tend to cumulatively put us on a path of not being ourselves. We are constantly being pressured to fit into some norm, fit into some mold of whatever our family or culture or religion has told us we need to be. And the 2-part problem with that is, number one, I think we become very judgmental, as I think you mentioned as well. But by being judgmental, it also tends to make you insecure.
Yes.
In that insecurity, we become narcissistic, and we tend to close ourselves off from helping people, from being present in the moment to share with people. So I think that are detrimental to our emotional health and our spiritual health. I was raised in a home. I was raised in a very conservative, religious home. I was a Christian background. Probably wasn't until my mid to late 20s that I started to at least see the other side. One of my mentors through all that process was Wayne Dyer, who's a very well-known speaker.
Yes.
He had his own transformation over the years, and I kind of followed that path. It was enlightening for me. But I believe that for me, spirituality has become my way of becoming more accepting of both myself and other people. I believe, in fact, just to bring it to modern day, this Clubhouse forum is absolutely fantastic for connecting, getting to know other people without many of the conventions involved, many of the, our judgments that we have when we see people. See how people are dressed, see how people look. That's it's a non-issue here, which is fantastic. And just like this room right here that we're in, Jimmy and Jackie, I think that this is really, I hope it's going to be a very large tsunami of thought and exposure to more people, more ideas, more cultures. I hope it will continue to be a great inclusive platform.
Thank you, Dax. And man, he brings up a good point about social media that I wasn't even thinking about. Like, Clubhouse eliminates all the, Me Too-ism that takes place over on social media, because I see it all the time. I'll post something, and then somebody will create something negative about my belief, and then there's this, me too, me too, me too, me too, me too. And it's like all of these people just not really knowing what they're saying or believing what they're saying. It's just because somebody else had the gumption to challenge my thought, which I was okay with the challenge. But then this piling on kind of takes place. And he's right. I love the breakdown you gave, those 5 areas that really encompass, I think, every area of our life where we're living our life for other people.
Yeah, Dax, man, I just want to, wow. Like, I was just, I had to get my notebook to write that down. I was like, that is incredible.
The whole time, Dax.
I was like, let me take some notes. That is amazing.
Wayne Dyer before, Brittany? Do you know Wayne Dyer?
Nope, but I wrote his name down.
See, I've known about him. I just took for granted you being kind of working on yourself that you knew who that was. Dax, did you want to say something else?
No, I'm going to point out that it's important that you find meaningful mentors. They will help you in time of uncertainty and when you're feeling a little less, like yourself, when you're trying to find yourself. Wayne Dyer for me was actually, I started reading his books back in 1982, I believe. Your Erroneous Zones was his first book, but he later became more of a spiritual person, and his transformation over his life. He was 15 years older than me, or 20 years older than me. I'm sorry, but he was such a he wore his development on his sleeve, which allowed all of us to be more present with his introspection and his growth as a person. So it allowed us all to be part of that, and almost feel like you got a head start on being able to become a more spiritual, better, more accepting, loving, caring, kind person.
Yeah, Brittany loves Tony Robbins, because you don't shut up about Tony Robbins to me, Brittany. And then I turned her on to David Goggins, who is also one of those mentors for her, and her eyes just lit up when I said both of those names.
I love them, and I think that's true, to find a mentor, and it doesn't have to be like someone that you can have a direct conversation with. I find that mentor, in so many different people, but that was so good. All of that was so good. Thank you, Dax. Like, that was incredible. I'm still soaking it all in. But you said, that Wayne Dyer, he wore his personal development like on his sleeve. That's literally my goal. That is my goal, to let the people in my life and the people that I can influence and be a part of, I want to show them the real, the raw, all of that, to show them personal development is not something that you just wake up one day and you're enlightened. It's a hard, tough battle that you do every single day to uncover this, living your life for yourself. Well, what the heck does that mean? It's so much more than what we can cover in one podcast. It's so much more, which is why we do One Step Deeper every single week.
Yes. Well, and you and I throughout the week, and I would say on the mentor aspect that Dax was talking about, you and I mentor each other and do it in love and care for one another, like genuine care for one another. And you're 20 years younger than me. It doesn't matter your age. It's presence. You don't try to force anything that you believe onto me, and I sure the hell don't you, because you will call me out if I try to do that. And it's beautiful. Like, when you can forge those kinds of relationships, that also helps you develop who you are. If you notice you have friends that are heavily telling you what you should be doing and when you could be doing and why aren't you doing, that's them trying to force their belief on you. So find your Brittany, or Brittany would say, find your Jimmy, because they're out there. You just have to be willing to look for them and go through that vetting process. But it is tough. It's one of the reasons we did start this podcast. We wanted to try to develop people in this way, to recognize who they are, be who they are, authentically, unapologetically. And you and I definitely both do that. I love our diversity of beliefs, and yet we're still the best of friends.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not a journey that comes easy. And honestly, the way that I did it was read books, listen to podcasts. I opened myself to other people's opinions. And when I did that and I stepped outside the box and I was like, well, this is how I was told to believe. This is what somebody else believes. This is the polar opposite of what I was told to believe. Where do I fit? Where do I fit here? What what is me living my life for myself. I've read only 2 books this year, but I'm working on a 3rd one right now, but they both have been life changing. And that is, oh gosh, I have it. Hold on.
Well, it's Dr. Brett Hill, his book.
Yes. So the first one was Confident as Fuck by L. Russ.
Yes.
Amazing. Like I needed that right at that time. And that helped me. This book, the Confident book, helped me be confident in all the decisions that I'm making for myself. All of these decisions of me living my life for myself, this helped with that. And then next comes Rock Bottom, someone who put himself in some boxes and was living his life for other people around him. And when that was taken away, he hit rock bottom, didn't know who the heck he was or anything. I'm telling you, those 2 books.
And the second one is Dr. Brett Hill. I just want to make sure people got
Thank you. Yes, Dr. Hill, Rock Bottom.
Yeah, I sent you. And then what?
The one now, Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. This is the new one. I'll probably finish this one in a couple of days. But all of these books have helped me. Matthew McConaughey did that, where he was like, I'm not living in this box. Yeah. Like, he tells a wonderful story about how he was the rom-com guy, and they wanted to cast him as rom-com, and he didn't have a job for like 18 months, but he's like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. Cast me somewhere else. And he stuck with it. He's like, I'm going to be a different person. And so that's why I'm reading that. Anyway, sorry for giving my book list there.
No. I was just telling you that I sent you a text this morning with another book suggestion that I thought would be up your alley. And definitely that's a good thing. I need to do that more. I don't read. I like to listen to audiobooks instead of actually reading books. So it's easier with my work schedule with how busy I am. But Dax did mention Jackie a couple of times. So why don't we bring on Jackie? Hello, my friend Jackie. What's going on today?
Hi, Jimmy. Hi, Brittany. Well, I thought Dax had some really great points there and definitely worth considering. And Brittany, when you mentioned about your dad wanting you to go to college, that struck a chord in me because, and I think we get to that point, especially when we're young and we have been just going to school, we haven't been out in life very much, and we don't really know what we want. And so what that I look back on when you mentioned that is that when it came to the year when you had to choose what you wanted to do to follow on to go into a career, I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do. I didn't even know what was available. I'd never given it any thought. And so my dad said to me, why don't you go and do hotel and catering, because people will always want to go on holiday and they will always want to go out to eat, which is great. Unfortunately, he didn't live to see this time. I don't know about you in the States, but here in the UK, everything is closed. So I did, because that was his suggestion, and I just followed it because I didn't have any thoughts of my own to do anything different. But I think for me, luckily, what happened was I realised pretty quickly that I didn't like that lifestyle, and I didn't like working when everyone else was out having fun. So I changed direction. But I think some people just keep going and keep pushing at it, and I sometimes had that. I still don't know what I want in certain situations. And I can see it as well because I work in the nutrition world, and we see it a lot with beliefs around food and what is healthy and what is unhealthy and how to lose weight and what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And I think these are just beliefs that have been handed down to us.
Yes.
Some of it is quite recent, but some of it is from generation.
Oh, and these learned beliefs, Brittany, thank you, Jackie. These learned beliefs that we have, my goodness, and how hard is it to break those once you even recognize them? It's still hard to break. And it just becomes so much a part of who you are. How do you do it? I'm like, you and I broke free, but even still, we still get a little bit trapped from time to time. And you and I have crying sessions, not literal ones, but whining, I guess would be the word, about people that are still trying to have their control over our lives. And it's like, why do we feel bad about that? We've broken free. Why are we locking ourselves back up in shackles again?
Comfortability.
Yes.
We crave what we've always done. You know, like that's, for me, that's easy to explain away. It's comfortable in fitting in somebody else's box when you've done it for 20 some years or 40 some years. It's just really easy to go back to that. I mean, it just fits like a contact lens. It just rolls around in your eye till it fits. I mean, it's just the way it is. But yeah, thank you, Jackie. That was great. And I just want to honor you for a second and say, I'm so happy for you that you noticed that you were able to see where that came from, because that's a huge step to just be able to identify, okay, I did this because of this. And it's really something, again, I push unschooling and gentle parenting so much because I let my kids take as much reign as possible. Like, I let them decide, what do you want to do? What do you want to learn? Because I feel like, let them make mistakes when they're 7, 8, 9. Let them learn all of these things now so that when they are 18 or 19 and they're ready to make this big life-changing, we do not put enough emphasis on how life-changing it is at 18 or 19 to pick a career. And I really, 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 really hate the boxes that we put kids in at 18 or 19 to expect them to keep the same career that they picked at 18 or 19 when they are still a child, to pick a career and they must stick with it the rest of their life. Like, how dare we do that?
You pick a major when you're a freshman. I was 17. And my original major was going to be political science and music. Why those two, I don't know. But I was interested in music at the time and thought I might want to do something in that. I ended up on political science and English, and then I went and got that was a bachelor's degree, and then I went and got a master's degree in public policy. Guess what, Jamie, doing with both of those right now? Not a damn thing. So other than the English, I am a writer now for a living. So thank you, English classes. But yeah, but I wasn't pushed into that, other than I had to declare something early. So I guess institutionally, like you're saying, the education places, as Dax said, culture is what that would fall under, kind of force these decisions on you before you're ready to make them.
Yes. He made a good point too, bringing Dax back up. I wrote it down. The fact that people get so insecure outside of their beliefs. Oh man, that was so good. That once you ingrain yourself with this belief so much, you cannot let somebody else who believes differently within your life because you feel attacked. And I have a person in my life who attacks me when I dare to say anything or believe anything different than them, because they're so comfortable in their own belief that this is it. This is who I am. Don't question me.
Because they want you to believe like them. And that's, like we were talking about earlier, that's them trying to control your thoughts, your beliefs. And see, those are the people that never grow. That person you're talking about, I know who you're referring to, they're never going to grow in their life. And they're younger than I am. And it's like, grow. Like, don't you want that? Don't you want to progress? Don't you want to evolve as a human being and become what your maximum capability of being is? The honest answer to that question, Brittany, is no. Most people are just fine being a little lemming, going through life, wake up, eat, sleep, poop, wake up, eat, sleep, poop, and then they die. And it's like, was that a life? Did you live that life? Is that living life abundantly to its max? Like, that's what I want to do for the rest of however much the good Lord keeps me on this earth. That's what I want to do.
Hey, Jimmy,
Right, exactly.
back here real quick.
Yeah, what you got, bro?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm getting ready to have to jump off here soon, but I have a couple of points. The first one is, at some point in all of our lives, doesn't matter when it is, you'll reach a point where you'll feel like you're ready to find yourself. And there's a quote, an old quote that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And when you come to that point, you are deciding to think for yourself, live for yourself. Now I'm not talking about being selfish. I'm saying that once you really fully know yourself and love yourself, then you'll truly be able to give something substantive to the world. And when you're there, when you're ready for that, then you need to address the people who it will affect, the people who will come at you hard to try to put you back in your place that they've pigeonholed you into. You have to treat those people with love and patience, because they're going to have to transform just as you are to understand that you're going to be you, and that their pressure will will no longer work on you. And put love out there to them. That's the best way to slowly massage them into different thinking. And with that, I'll let you get back to this fabulous discussion you're having, and I hope you all have a great day. Wonderful being here with you, Jimmy and Jackie and Brittany.
Thank you, Dax. Yeah,
Dax.
the whole time you were saying that, I was pointing at Brittany because you don't know Brittany like I do. That literally describes her life right this moment.
Like, Dax, find me. I want to know your knowledge. Like, please, like, I'm so I feel you, all those words. I'm like, I need to know him. He needs to be my friend.
He's on Instagram if you want to follow him. I'll send you his username later.
Yes, please. Yes.
So what do you think about what he said? Because that does apply directly to your situation.
I'm just like,
I can see she's processing it all, Dax. You kind of dropped a bomb on her, and she's just like flummoxed.
yeah, I'm gonna have to like sit on that one for a little bit and just like let myself process all of that, because like the whole time I'm just like, yes, exactly, yes.
He was talking about you kind of find a leader that comes into your life when you start doing this work. Brittany, that was you for me, whether you know it or not. And had you not come in my life, I would not have progressed in this journey. I think I would have figured some things out, but I would still been stuck along the way. But because you're willing to challenge me, even though I'm 20 years your senior, like that has never mattered. You've always spoken boldly to me and into my life, and kind of getting me to see the real Jimmy. Your moniker on Instagram is becoming.Brittany Lee. Like literally that's the theme song of what you do in your own work, and it's the same thing. You're kind of doing this, and I've tried to be that for you as well. So it's this tit for tat.
Yeah. So Brittany Lee is like this higher version of myself that I'm always chasing, and I always raise the bar and I keep going. And when I learn something new and uncover some pattern, and I unlearn it and reteach myself, and I'm like, cool, what else can I do? Like, yes. I love the idea of growing and bettering myself. And yeah, that's where the whole becoming Brittany Lee came from, and this just becoming who we are. So I don't like the term. I know what people mean when they say find yourself. I personally don't like that term. I think it's more of creating ourselves and creating who we are and opening ourselves up to becoming this better version of ourselves. But we have to be willing.
Become your authentic self.
Yes. Yeah.
Been so real in my this last year and a half, 2 years, where I've actually so changed myself to be better that I've lost 3/4 of my friends. And we've talked about this. They were just Wayfair, quote, friends anyway, not genuine friends. And so when you realize that, you go, wow, good riddance. But then the cool thing is I've met so many people over here on Clubhouse that I now consider really good friends. I've had 3 conversations this week in real life on the phone. Gee, imagine that, talking to people on the phone, because of that connection with people, and other people that are very happy in their own skin, know what they believe and why they believe it, and might disagree like you and I do, and yet still be the best of friends, and recognizing that those differences actually make us pretty powerful together as a friend.
And I think we've touched on this in a past episode, but once you become that real version of yourself, man, you attract the people. I cannot tell you, ever since I've started this path for myself and walked away from the people who push the boxes towards me, I have found so many of my people. My husband brought over work friends last night, and somehow we found ourselves going on a ride in this man's truck, and my husband and I were just eating and soaking it up, all of his stories that he had. He was just an incredible human being, and he had gone on a path himself, and we were just soaking all of that up because we love it. And it just, I don't know why, call it the universe, call it God, call it whatever you want to, but you just start to attract these people that make you grow and push you. And again, like you said, you were for me what I am for you. Like, it was a weird dynamic at first, but we were just like, let's do this. Like, let's just be friends.
and we just appeared in each other's lives. You posted on Instagram and tagged me on one of my books about how it helped you. I reached out to you and we started talking, and you had questions. I'm like, just call me. And so you called me on a whim. You live 2 hours away, but I didn't know where you were. I talk to people on the phone all the time randomly. And so I was just talking to you, and I'm like, oh, wow, she's kind of cool. And then we started talking some more, and then that talk went from keto and fasting and all the things to life. And then life turned to, wow, you're a cool person. Wow, you're a cool person. And it just kind of developed from there. So guys, never turn down opportunities to connect with another human being. Definitely here on Clubhouse, you're doing that. Like Dax said, you're hearing voices, you're connecting in a real way that traditional social media doesn't allow for. You're listening to our podcast, for example, as well. All of you watching this on the YouTube premiere, listening on the podcast, like you're literally hearing two human beings who are very comfortable being who they are, not listening to what other people tell them to believe. And we're pretty darn happy about that too. That's the fun part. You find peace in your heart that maybe you have an uneasiness in your heart and you don't know why. It could be that you've relinquished your own thoughts and beliefs to someone else.
Yes, and being where I am, I can see through the lens when I see other people who still push that box and don't understand who I am now, and I get it, and I can be more understanding to them because they haven't gone on the journey that I have. So getting on this side of it and living my life for who I am, I understand, or living my life for me, I understand that the people who want to push those boxes don't live their life for themselves. And it's hard, but I understand. I have more understanding now on this side of it. And so it makes it easier. It hurts. It still hurts when those people choose to not be in your life, but it's easier to understand they're not where I am. They're not on the journey that I am. They haven't chosen to live their life for themselves. And so I'm just going to continue to live my life until they look in and they're like, what is she doing? She looks different. She's different.
And they may never. This is something you got to come to terms with too. I had to let go of my dad. He's 71 years old, and the man is not interested in changing. And he was one of the ones that was very much influencing other people. He had a charm about him when he wasn't abusive. So he was liked by a lot of people, and through that like ability, he was able to influence people about what he wanted and believed. And those people are selfish. We just need to realize if you're that way and you're trying to infuse your beliefs on other people, you're a selfish human being. And selflessness, self-love, all of these things break down those walls so that you can find the real you on the inside so you can live your life and not someone else's. Well, that is episode 14 of the One Step Deeper podcast. I hope this was insightful for those of you who listen and go, I'm trying to work on myself. What else can I work on? Are you living your life, or are you living the life of someone else? So hopefully we gave you things to think about. Thank you, Clubhouse, for hanging out with us here on the live simulcast. And thank you to Dax and Jackie for the questions and the commentary. Really appreciate you guys being here. But guys, go to onestepdeeperpodcast.com. That's our official website. And you can see all the past episodes there. We also embed the videos there if you want to watch them. It's also the way that you reach out to the show if you have comments or questions or anything for us, topic suggestions. Brittany and I have lots of those, but we will definitely hear what you want to hear about. We're also available on podcast on Mondays. The One Step Deeper podcast is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Alexa. I spell it out so it doesn't go off in my house. And then find us on social media. We're on Instagram, One Step Deeper Podcast, Facebook, One Step Deeper Podcast Community. Brittany and I are both active in both of those pages if you talk to us there. And then leave us a review. If you listen to the podcast, that really helps out new podcasts kind of get off the ground. But Brittany, I'm glad you made it because you were in pain and you didn't sleep very well, but you're like a pro now. You know how to hide it. You did well, my dear.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys next week.
OneStepDeeperPodcast.com.